So now we are standing in the seventh lesson. You might say this is the eighth, man. Yeah, no, this is books, mistake and error. And because in the last lesson we covered the lesson six. Just a second. Yeah, that's the lesson six, and then next lesson should be seven, and or the one lesson is missing, or the lesson 8 is written in the wrong way. No problem, we will call this as a lesson 7. Paragraph writing. 8.1 Progression and development within the argument. In lesson 2, we looked at the problems in sentence level arguments. When it comes to longer arguments, the problems become more complex and have an impact on both development, task response, and the progression, coherence, and cohesion. As we have seen, individual arguments are logically connected through the meaning, the effective use of linking words and phrases, and referencing using a synonym or pronoun. In earlier example we looked at, one candidate wrote on the societal level, the results may be catastrophic if this is the case. This argument can only show a clear progression if the reader can easily understand what the term is, if this is the case, and the results refer to. If these or other ideas remain unclear, then the whole argument will also be unclear. Thus, problems with progression are often connected to problems with cohesive devices and particular referencing in particular. These issues needs to be controlled throughout your essay to achieve band 7 or above. In terms of task response, an argument is not well developed band 7 or fully developed band 9. If the ideas do not form a complete or a picture when you judge it together, seeing in the terms of the physical structure such as house may help. Mm, Problems with individuals' arguments CC have an impact on the whole essay task response, coherence and cohesion and task response. Fully developed band 9, well developed band 7, addressed all parts band 7, 8 band 7, and inadequately developed and unclear band 9. A following paragraph helps to illustrate band 6 problems in progression and development. It is in an extract form an essay discussing whether schools should be responsible for teaching children good behavior or and right from wrong, not just parents. Here is the original version. Children spend large parts of their day at schools where the teachers can cultivate their minds with knowledge that is not only important for their career but also that can help them grow as a wise adult. They can mentor these in many different ways. For instance, through books or group activities where they can learn to differentiate wrong from the right. Additionally, children get engaged in various curricular activities at school where often they asked to dress up like grade leaders or persons. While doing so, they get curious to know about these persons, which can help them in emulating their traits, which consequently get integrated into their personality. Therefore, the role of schools in instilling the good behaviorism is much more crucial and compared to those of the parent. To highlight the task response and coherence and cohesion problems, I have corrected the grammar and the vocabulary. You can see the new version on the page. Children spend a large part of their day at school where the teachers can cultivate their minds and impact knowledge that is not only important for their career but that can also help them to grow into wise adults. They can mentor them in many different ways. For instance, through the books of group activities where they can learn to tell right from wrong. Additionally, children become engaged in various extracurricular activities at school, where often they are asked to dress up like great leaders. While doing this, they become curious and want to know more about these people, which can help them in emulating their traits, which consequently become integrated in their personality. Therefore, the role of schools in instilling good behavior is much more crucial than the of the parent. Which of the problems can identify in this paragraph? You may choose more than one. Uses cohesive devices effectively, but the cohesion between sentences is faulty. Does not always use referencing. No, there's a lot of differences. B. Cross it out. A lack of clear central topic within the paragraph. Yeah, probably, maybe. Parents are relevant position, although the conclusion become unclear. No, D cross it out. Presents relevant main ideas, but some are inadequately unclear. You are great, okay, man. We will go through these problems one by one. Addressing coherence and cohesion problems. Uses cohesive devices effectively, but cohesion between the sentences is faulty. Doesn't always use referencing clearly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we choose the A, and it doesn't always use referencing clearly. We couldn't choose the B. Okay. Children spend the largest parts of the day at school, where the teachers can cultivate their minds and impart knowledge that is not only important for their career but that can also help them grow into wise adults. They can mentor them in different ways, for instance, through the books or group activities, where they can learn from tell the right from wrong. Additionally, children become engaged in various extracurricular activities at school, where often they are asked to dress up like great leaders. While doing this, they become curious and want to know more about these people, which can help them in emulating their traits, which consequently become integrated into their personality. Therefore, the role of schools in instilling good behavior is much more crucial than the parts of the parent. This paragraph shows the mixed success in using the cohesive devices. Here are the examples of those that are the managed well, and B, these are not well managed, not all managed. Well, in the original version, children spend the largest parts of their day at school, where the teachers can know knowledge that is not only important for their career but can also in many different ways. For instance, additionally, children become at school where they can dress up like a great leaders. While doing so, they therefore roll off grades. Each example is a signposting show that how two ideas are connected. This is what cohesion means. Hmm. However, the use of referencing in this paragraph sometimes causes confusion, making it difficult to follow ideas. Scan the paragraph and find the certain pronoun, then they is there, and then decide whether the pronouns are referring children, teachers, grades. Remember, a pronoun is used to take the place of a noun, but its meaning is only clear when it refers back to the last noun mentioned. If were if you were confused by the numbers 5, 6, 7, 9, 11, 12, and 13, it is because the reference is not clear. We don't need to replace all of these, but we do need to make some of the reference clearer on the worksheet to try to fix these problems yourself. Then study my suggestion on the next page. Suggested solutions. Teachers can mentor them in different ways. For instance, through the books or group of activities where they can learn to tell from right from wrong, or they can mentor the students in many different ways. For instance, through the books or group of activities where they can learn to tell the right from wrong. While doing so, the students become curious and want to know more about these people, which can encourage the children to emulate their qualities, which consequently become integrated into their own personality. The second sentence shows that the further common coherence problem at band 6.5 contains too many different ideas and it's so difficult to follow. This is often happens when the candidates write over long, complex sentences. To make the meaning clearer, we need to rewrite this as two or the three separate sentences. Try to do this in yourself by adding a cohesive device to make this linker clearer, linking phrase and or reference. A modal verbs where necessary can, might, may, it's possible, etc. When you have finished it, compare your version. Key idea: the examiner must be able to follow your reasoning to give you a score of band 7 or above. The more difficult this to do. The lower score, the language you use, the referencing modal verbs, the length of your sentence can have an impact on the examiner's ability to follow your argument and understand your conclusion. Reading out loud. Read this new version of a whole paragraph aloud. Can you notice the overuse or repetition of one structure? Children spend the largest parts of their day at school, where the teachers can cultivate their minds and fill them into knowledge that is not only important for their career but also can help them grow into wise adults. They can mentor the students in many different ways, for instance, through the books or group activities where they can learn to tell the right from wrong. In addition, children become engaged in various extra particular activities at school where they are often asked to dress up like a great leaders. While doing so, the students may become curious and want to know more about these people, which people could encourage the children to emulate their qualities. These positive traits may even become more integrated into their own personality. Therefore, the role of schools in instilling good behavior is much more crucial than of the parent. Really, reading your writing out loud in this way helps you to notice repetition more easily. I find that I stumble when trying to read out loud any of my writing that is unclear. So it is always useful for checking and editing. Although you cannot do this in a test situation, practice like this before your test should help you to silently read over your work and in a more focused way. I find I can make in my inner voice seem louder when I wanted to this type of final checking. Okay, a lack of clear central topic in the key to IELTS success. I described a method for writing a paragraph known as a PEL. The P refers to making a point, which is then the explain it, and the expanded, and the clearly links back to the question. The point P and link L also act as a frame um, for the main idea within the paragraph, and these are the good way to ensure that you're present a clear central topic. Band 7 provided, of course, that these sentences accurately reflect the main idea within the paragraph. Look at the first and last sentence in our paragraph. Do you think that these people to present a clear central topic? Children spend the largest part of their day at school, where the teachers can cultivate their minds and impact knowledge that is not only important for their career but can also help them grow in wise adults. They can mentor them in many different ways, for instance, through books or group activities where they can learn tell the right from wrong. Additionally, children become engaged in various extracurricular activities at school, where often they are asked to dress up like a great leaders. While doing so, they become curious and wanted to know more about these people, which can help them in emulating their traits, which consequently become integrated into their personality. Therefore, the role of schools in instilling good behavior is much more crucial than that one of the parent. This is the sentence tells us that the central topic is in the paragraph will be schools and teachers cultivating the minds of children to fill them with knowledge that is important for their career and helping them grow into wise adults. This is too long and complex to be helpful the signposting for the reader, but it also doesn't seem too accurate. The children's career and never mentioned again. This is sentence would work better as a second sentence, which shows a common problem I see. The first sentence, and I sometimes also the last sentence of the paragraph is missing. The writer's overall argument in this paragraph seems to be that the schools have a lot of influence on children behavior, and this idea would produce a much more appropriate first sentence. In the final sentence, the writer makes a good attempt at linking this paragraph to the question. For example, it claims that this paragraph proves that the role of schools in instilling good behavior is much more crucial than that of the power of parents. This conclusion is not supported by the evidence given here. The role of parents is not mentioned at all. A more appropriate sentence would be that therefore the role of schools is instilling good behavior is a significant one. Um, Revising the first sentence and the last sentence so that they accurately reflect the ideas in the paragraph will significantly improve the coherence and cohesion score here. So 8.3, addressing the task response in issues, presents a relevant position although the conclusion become unclear, presents relevant main ideas but the some are inadequately developed and unclear. Band 6 task response, I guess this is the argument being made in this paragraph is that the schools have a lot of influence on children's behavior. This is the main idea or conclusion that needs to be made clear. The ideas within the paragraph need to explain and support this point if we want to present adequately developed response. Remember, these explanations must keep help the reader to understand why the writer believes this and show that it is a valid argument or conclusion. Below, you will find our current paragraph after the suggestion. Changes have been made to help us to identify any task response problems on your worksheet. Complete the table with the explanation or support given for each of the ideas listed. The points and claims being made here, the first one has been done for you. Schools have a lot of influence on children's behavior. Children spend the largest part of their day at school, where the teachers can cultivate their minds and fill them with the knowledge that is not only important for their career, but also they can help them grow into wise adults. They can mentor the students in many different ways, for instance, through the books or group of activities where they can learn to tell the right from wrong to tell right from wrong. In addition, children become engaged in various extracurricular activities at school, where they are often asked to dress up like a great leaders. While doing so, the students may become curious and want to know more about these people, which could be encouraged the children to emulate their qualities. These positive traits may even become integrated into their own personality. Therefore, the role of schools in instilling good behavior is a significant one. Now read my answer and comment where there is no explanation. I have added the questions that show my confusion when I was reading it. Main idea points and claims, support or explanation, my comments. The teachers can mentor the children in many different ways, for instance, through books or a group of activities. My comment. This explains when teachers can mentor but not how. This explains when teachers can mentor but how. Mm-hmm. Through books and group activities, children can learn to tell right from wrong. No. How will they learn this? What is the connection between books and group of activities and learning right from wrong? Hmm. If you give an idea, just explain every single idea that you give. For example, you give the main topic and explain it. And when you explain your the main idea in the supporting point, and you should explain your supporting point. And when you explain your supporting point, the next expanded and give some example to support all of them. And at the end of your paragraph, just conclude what you say. I think, in my opinion, that would be great if you follow this kind of rules and ill. Yeah, children may emulate the qualities of famous leaders, and as a result, their personality may change. This will happen when they dress up in their clothes and become more curious about them. And I want to pay attention to this word close. Many of the candidates and many of the teachers, probably not all of them, probably some of them mispronounce this word like a closes. Note, it's not like a pronounced like this. It's pronounced close. So pay attention your pronunciation. Even if you make a wrong pronunciation, it may lead to listener to no misunderstanding what you say. So got the point, I guess. This doesn't seem very likely. Does putting on a different outfit permanently change our behavior? The explanation for the last idea takes up almost half of the paragraph, yet the conclusion that children can permanently alter their personality and behavior by temporarily wearing different clothes still doesn't seem to be a valid one. In contrast, the ideas that are far more relevant to the main idea and central topic, the role of teachers in the group activities and mentoring, are insufficiently developed or explained and remain unclear. 8.3, addressing the task response issues. Presents a relevant position, although conclusions become unclear, presents relevant main ideas. Let me see. We will not, I guess, task response issues. Addressing task response issue. Yeah, we will addressing the task response issue. Presents a relevant position, although the conclusion become unclear. Presents relevant main ideas, but some are inadequately developed and unclear. The argument being made in this paragraph is that schools have a lot of influence on children's behavior. This is the main idea or conclusion that needs to be made clear. The ideas within the paragraph need to explain and support this point if we want to present an inadequately developed response. Remember, these explanations must help the reader to understand why the writer believes this and show that it is a valid argument or conclusion. Below, you will find out the current paragraph after the suggested changes have been made. To help us to identify any task response problems on your worksheet, to complete the table with the explanation or support the given for each of the ideas listed, points that and claims being made here. The first one has been done for you. Okay. I really want to reading out loud helps me to hear what I'm saying, and helps me to correct my mispronunciation at the point. Schools have a lot of influence on children's behavior. Children spend Children spend the largest parts of their day at school, where the teachers can cultivate their minds and fill them with knowledge, and that is not only important for their career, but also they can also, but that can also help them to grow into the wise adults. They can mentor the students in many different ways, for instance, through the books or group of activities where they can learn to tell the right from wrong. In addition, children become engaged in various extracurricular activities at school, where they can often ask it to dress up like great leaders. While doing so, the students may become curious and wanted to know more about these people, which could be encourage the children to emulate their qualities. These positive traits may even become integrated in their own personality. Therefore, the role of schools in instilling good behavior is a significant one. Now, read my answer and comments where there's no explanation. I have added the questions that I show in my confusion when I was reading it. Main idea, main points, claim support, or explanation, my comment. Teachers can mentor the children in many different ways, for instance, through the books or the group of activities. This explains how and why. I guess this is coming like still the looks like gray, looks the similar. The explanation for the last idea development of the paragraph, that the conclusion that the children temperamentally, their personality, behavior, or temporal are very different clothes still doesn't seem to be wild one. No, 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 no. We will read all of them, and why the book is repeating the same information as given in before. So I don't know why this is happening. I guess we will. There's a further problem here. The writing test told us to discuss whether schools should be responsible for teaching children or good behavior, or right the from wrong, and right from wrong. Not just parents, but the writer has introduced a theme that is not relevant. Children learning how to behave by copying famous leaders. If the writer had applied the critical thinking before the writing, he would have realized that this idea should be deleted. Instead, by persisting with it and explanation it several sentences, he has gradually moved further away from this issue and the question. And this is what happens when you think as you write, and will occur no matter what your level is. It certainly happens to me. As a result, even with the improvements we have made to language and cohesion, this paragraph will still represent band 6 task response, which helps to explain why native speakers could also struggle to score band 7 or above. Listening exercise. I have made changes to this argument to produce a band 7 version of the paragraph. Listen to the recording of it, and as you listen, fill the blanks on your worksheet. Follow these steps to get the most benefit from this exercise. Before you're listening, look at the gapped paragraph on your worksheet and try to predict the information you will hear. Listen to the recording once. Do not pause or write anything down. Repeat if necessary. Look back at the paragraph and fill the in as many paragraph gaps as you can by reconstructing the information you heard. Use what you know about the language as well as your memory. Listen again and fill any remaining gaps as you listen. There is no one gap for each missing word. Listening in this way helps you to focus on the language used. It also helps you to identify problems in your own language. If you cannot hear shorter words such as articles and the preposition on the verb endings, then it's possible that you are not using them inappropriately useful when writing or speaking. Lower levels candidates may need to pause the recording during the stage 4. However, candidates can try to do this with a blank piece of paper instead of using the prompts in the gap exercise. Even we click here, man, there's nothing. Listen again the while reading completed the before compare it to the what you have written. Click here to listen. No. Key idea. Try to structure your paragraphs using peel. Begin by making point which you then explain, expand, and clearly link back to the question. The point P and the link to the frame your paragraph. If they accurately reflect to the main idea in the paragraph, they will ensure you to present a clear central topic. Points to notice about paragraph structure. Points to notice the paragraph structure. The first sentence in the paragraph introduces the main idea in the central topic. Here is the influence that schools have on children. The final sentence reaches a conclusion based on the evidence provided within the paragraph, shows how this is linked to the question and makes my position clear. We can see the P and L in PEL as well as overall conclusion about the argument within the paragraph. The first introduces these through a general statement or point, and the final statement sums up the main argument in the paragraph and shows that it is answering in the question. In other words, why or how it is relevant to the question you have been given. Each idea between these two sentences is relevant to the question and to the stated main idea, helps to support and explain the conclusions. P and EL is clearly connected, is logically organized. When we can do something well, we can make it look easy. Do not underestimate the skills required to neatly sum up an argument or main point is in this way. Don't be fooled into thinking the level here is too low because it is too easy to understand. Those who believe in this continue to write in a way that makes their central ideas, conclusions, and positions unclear. Of course, there are other ways to structure a paragraph. You will find this in reading tasks, passages, in academic journals, and even in the sample answers produced by examiners for practice test books. However, these may not be present in writing. When writing, we are aiming for here a timed essay produced under exam condition that will meet the test criteria and that will help you achieve the best possible score. Extra practice. Go back over previous essays you have written and focus on your body paragraphs. Look at the any pronouns you have used. What do these refer back to? Is this reference clearer? Find the conclusion you've made and each argument, your points and claims, and the reasons you gave for believing these your supporting evidence, and decide if your arguments and conclusions are clear and valid. What changes can you make to help make them clearer? Look back at the first sentence each paragraph, and does it introduce one clear central topic? Do final sentence accurately reflect the evidence you've provided and link back to the question? In other words, do your paragraphs match to the PEL structure? In one paragraph more successful at this than another? This is a common problem and indicates the insufficient planning for before writing. Rewrite one or two paragraphs for practice when you have time. Make a note of any repeated language or problems and grammar points, and make sure to study a practice them. For example, relative clauses, conditional sentences, modal verbs. Relative clauses, conditional sentences, modal verbs. I guess we will move into the lesson 9. But we will cover this essay in the next day. I guess today is enough, and thank you anyway for your attention, and ciao for now.